How you doing today, Glenn?
Great. Very impressed. I'm impressed watching you, by the way. I
Oh,
could
thank
never have done that. I mean, how many people could have done that as a senior in college and pull this off? No way. So great job.
I appreciate it. Well, from the video, we can see how much experience you had at UCF. So can you tell us, how did your UCF experience help shape who you are today and the success you've had?
Yeah, so kind of how I alluded to in the video, I was a first generation college student. And, when I got to UCF, I didn't know what someone that goes to college does after college. So the professors had a pretty big impact to start with. Some of my favorite classes were investment classes where I actually learned how, what investments were, how to do them. I opened my first brokerage account, started trading currencies, I think, early on. And then I was taking a professional speaking class, and I would speak about these cool investment classes I was taking. And things started clicking in terms of I could start seeing a career and whatnot. And one professor in particular, so for all you professors out there, the one thing that I walked away with that a lot of us that had Dr. Clock, so if anyone had Dr. Clock as an instructor, risk, return, trade-off. So everyone, I still say it to this day, when I think of whether it's a business decision or personal decision, I think before I make that decision, risk, return, trade-off, and does it balance out before I go forward? And it's helped me immensely throughout my professional and personal life.
Awesome, I love that. Thank you. All right, we have so many UCF students like me, out here in the audience tonight. So what advice would you have for the UCF students out here who are focused on starting their careers?
Yeah, so advice for UCF students. UCF is that place where you can make it whatever you want it to be. So a couple things. Number one, for me, it was getting involved at the school, being part of organizations. I know yourself, as most of the students here, are involved. For me, it was being part of the fraternity, being in leadership positions, yes, ATO. So when by the time I graduated, having been part of an organization, and by the way, there's 300 plus organizations at UCF, and you can be a leader in any of them. Mm-hmm. So by the time I graduated, I had been a leader in an organization. So when I hit the workforce, I was of the opinion that, wow, I've already led a nonprofit organization. I'm sure I can do this in a for-profit. Mm-hmm. So that's a long way of the advice I'd give to the graduating students. When you're looking for that first job, try and find something that you're passionate about, that you like. And if you don't, it's okay to make a change. My first job, it probably wasn't a good fit, but I gave it a few years, and then I realized I need to make a change. So don't necessarily go for the big brand or the big money. Go for something that when you wake up in the morning and you spend over half your waking life doing it, that is something you at least enjoy somewhat. You don't have to love it, but you need to like it.
Absolutely. And honestly, that really hits really close to home for me personally, because I'm actually graduating and looking for a job, and it's just, I've gotten some advice saying, oh, you know what, just chase the money now, go after whatever's the highest paying now, and then just whatever you love will come to you later. But no, I want to do something what I love and what I'd wake up every day and actually enjoy. So that really hit close home for me. By the way, I am serious. I am graduating in 3 weeks and looking for a job. So all of y'all out there.
Future graduate coming up.
Yeah. I took the liberty of putting some resumes under some of y'all's seats. So if you check, you might be a winner. And I'll be talking to y'all later. But anyways, speaking of doing what we love, we know that you love the retirement industry. And you actually have several patents on your own. So UCF actually ranks among the top university for patents. And you have 2. So can you tell us how someone ends up as an inventor in the retirement industry?
Well, what I'd like to tell you is I replied for a job. It said inventor wanted, and I applied for it and got it. No, that did not happen. And And matter of fact, nowhere in my job descriptions of any job I ever had did it say, we want you to be an inventor, right? That's just, I think, anyone at any job, any career can be an inventor. It's just being creative. It's not going to be in your job description, but I would encourage, as you go into your career, to think differently. Every single industry can be improved. So when you get there, especially with your eyes coming, fresh out of school, you're going to be able to probably find improvements better than most. I can tell you, throughout my whole career, I always tried to figure out better and new ways to do things. And as I got older and started running businesses, that's when I think I had the audacity to start applying for patents and trying to patent some of the work. And but again, my advice to students is, or young professionals, is just go. Don't wait for someone to tell you to do it. Just go out there and try and find better ways to make your company more profitable or more efficient. And hey, you might be able to patent some of those ideas.
Amazing. Well, I'm pretty sure everybody here can see how successful you've been, but we know that no one achieves success alone. So who are the people who have been the most important to your success throughout your career?
So in terms of people that are important, first of all, you have to have a strong family foundation. My wife has puts up with me now for more than 30 years. Surprised I lasted more than 30 days, but 30 years later, I'm still here. And when I come home after a long day of work, she looks at me and says, what are you home so early for? Go back to work. And I'm just joking. She doesn't say that. But obviously family's important, and also friends. So I got a lot of friends here in the audience, and they've received calls from me at all hours of the day and night, because a lot of us were all first generation college students, and we're trying to figure out life and careers, and it doesn't go away. Those calls still happen, right? So I'm just very blessed to have friendships that are 35 years old plus, and it's the same group of close-knit friends. We all hung out in undergrad. We all still hang out a lot today. I'm able to go to more tailgate parties for the last 3 years in a row. I've been a loyal tailgater at the football games, so it's just a lifelong friendship and people I can lean on.
I love that. I love that. All right. And last question I have for you tonight. We know that you retired over 3 years ago from, is it Allianz?
Allianz.
Allianz Global Investors as head
Yes.
of U.S. retirement business. So what motivated you to take a position with American Century Investments?
Yeah, so when I retired from Allianz about 3 years ago, I was thinking of ways to give back to the community, and I was thinking about various nonprofit jobs I could take. And then this company called American Century Investments, they were a competitor, a little bit smaller than other companies I worked for. But the unique thing, if you've never heard of American Century Investments, is their founders did something very different than any other Wall Street firm. Very different. They donated all their money to create a medical research institute with the goal of curing cancer for all of humanity. So they built it with $2 billion by selling 45% of their company, gave the rest of their company to the foundation. So we provide upwards of $200 million a year in ongoing research money. So they have about 500 scientists, one of the top research foundations in the world. And hopefully if they keep going on the path that they're going on, they'll be able to cure cancer and other gene-based diseases in the near future. So it's a way I get to give back and stay in the same industry that I grew up in.
And that humbleness is exactly why you're getting this award, Glenn. So everybody give it up one more time for Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you.